We all give our thoughts, opinions, and feelings based on our own view of the world. We look through our own window, and whatever we translate over to our children comes from that window, whether we like it or not. It's Hi, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Malish Jogiat. I'm known as the growth coach on all my social media platforms, and I talk predominantly about healing, growth, and how to find your authentic self. Today on my YouTube channel, I want to talk about something a little bit personal. So I did mention in my YouTube video when I came back that I had a lot of transitions happen in the last couple of months in my life, but one of the transitions I don't think I was ever prepared for was single parenting. Yo, I've heard that it's tough, but they do not tell you how tough it actually gets. But one of the reasons I wanted to talk about this is because I realize that I have now recently joined a circle of women who have gone the long haul with this. And also when healing has to be done in the family, with the children, and with yourself. The process can be pretty harrowing. But I made a fatal mistake right in the beginning. And this is what I want to talk about today is mistakes that we make thinking we know it all when in fact we don't. Yes, you can be as intellectual as you want to be. You can know everything there is to know about everything and still not know everything. And I've learned that pretty hard in the last 7 months. I think I pretty much assumed that I would be walking into single parenthood just understanding how to parent well, to walk my children through the healing process the way that they needed to, but then also find a firm, solid foundation for them that will get them thriving even though their lives weren't the same again. What I didn't realize was that I knew absolutely nothing. And like we all never know what we're really doing, this whole single parenting thing is not a joke, y'all. The first mistake I think I made, and what I am seeing other moms also now make when they decide to start taking this new road, is feeling like they, even though they know they're doing the right thing for them and their family, that somehow they're just gonna know how to get it right. When in fact, if you haven't learned the tools on how to rear children in structure and how to rear them in a sense of order, it becomes incredibly difficult to do it when you're doing it alone. Now, from my history, I don't fully yet, working on it, understand how order and structure should work. And I can intellectually explain it to you, but living it is a completely different experience. And the truth of the matter is, I have picked up so many resistances over the years that it's become difficult to adjust to what order actually looks like. More than difficult, but my children require that. They require that to understand how to be men and how to become women when they grow up. Because essentially, we're raising children to be adults. We are grooming adults here. We're not raising them to stay children. And if that order is not installed at a young age, it's going to be impossible for them. And like as difficult as it is for me right now to find that order and structure when they're older, that was one of the hardest challenges. And I'm not going to lie, we still haven't gotten it down. But it's become interesting seeing the gaps in my children's upbringing. Because there were gaps that existed in mine. And that's no fault necessarily of anybody. Look, we parent the best way we know how when we can, right? We do the best with what we have at the time. And I'm not beating myself up for not knowing any better. But now that I do, and now that I'm learning, I am having to force myself to instill those rules for myself so that my children can see how important they are for themselves. It is tough when you're at my age trying to create a sense of order in your own life when you thought you had it all good. The truth of the matter is, this is a rough journey. But what I appreciate about it is it gives me a sense of freedom. It's the funny part. You'd think creating a structure and an order for yourself would be confining. And I've always been the kind of girl who's like free and flowy and just live your best life and be all of who you need to be. and never really got the things done that I wanted to get done. But that was because the structure and the order didn't exist for me in the way that it should have in order to push me forward. And the only way to cultivate that in my kids is by demonstrating it. So that was one of the things that one of the biggest things I think I never saw coming. But also is when your children go through a transition like this, there is so much that come up for them. And it's not only going to come up in the first few months. It's going to come up year after year in different ways because they change, they grow, and they see new perspectives. Also, they have to balance between what they're being told by family, parents, me. They have to make decisions on what to believe, what not to believe, what resonates for them, how certain events and things that are said impact them. That is really difficult for children to deal with. And I think in my case, it doesn't necessarily help that we've gotten so many other structures involved, like school systems and teachers have gotten involved, and everyone, it doesn't matter who you are, including me, we all give our thoughts, opinions, and feelings based on our own view of the world. We look through our own window, and whatever we translate over to our children comes from that window, whether we like it or not. It's unavoidable. The sad thing about that is it's really difficult to monitor what the children are receiving because they're not with you all the time. I can't control what it is they're hearing, feeling, experiencing, and being told by other people. All I can do is create as stable and as structured foundation for them at home as possible so that when and if something happens outside of the home that kind of throws them off center, that they have a safe place to come back to. One of the biggest things I am grateful to have added to my parenting, which is something I've always wanted, is um, really starting to form a relationship with Christ. It's something that was on the back burner for many years and for many reasons. But we've finally been able to get to a place where I can actually establish a relationship with them and God. And I am so blessed to be able to have that opportunity. The structure and the freedom allows for room for them to express their spiritual experiences and understand that God is God and He is what they need when they need Him. And being able to openly have these conversations with them is actually the best part of this journey so far. So, for solo parents who have been doing this for years, I commend you because, man, did I not know what I was walking myself into. But at the same time, I have to give you high levels of respect, especially those of you who have broken your back to get your children through wherever you needed to. For those of you who have had very little to no support, I really commend the parents who do it because there is no greater job than raising healthy, loving, strong human beings. There is no greater responsibility, I think, on this planet, and God has given us the opportunity to raise His children. And it's such a blessing. But also, I have to say that I don't wish this journey on anybody because a two-parent household is ideal. It's essentially what we all want. But it doesn't always work out that way. And what I'm finding beautiful about that is that I don't have to feel guilty about it and I don't have to feel ashamed about it. I think if I had done this 20 years ago, people would have been like, oh my word, it's such a shameful thing to get divorced. When in fact, for some of us, it is the only way to find us. And whether we had bad marriages, not bad marriages, and things didn't go the way we wanted, I am more grateful now than ever that I know who God is in this experience and who He's training me to become and the parent that He's training me to become. It's so much, it brings me so much joy to be able to see my children for who they are and be able to experience it in all that it is. So, yeah, single parenting isn't for everybody. So, I suggest if you don't know what you're doing, don't have the kid. I have four, and I would never want to take any second with him back. And I'm really excited for the journey going forward. It's tough, but it's taught me lessons about myself that I wished, that I'm so glad that I have the opportunity to learn. But also, since I do healing and talk about healing so often, I have never had to work so hard on healing for my children's sake in my lifetime. And the amazing part about it is, it's had to heal parts of me I didn't even still know were broken from childhood. So this experience is it's heartbreaking, but at the same time, it's everything that it needed to be, and I am blessed for that. So I hope that you guys got some nuggets out of this video. Tell me a little bit about your parenting journey, how that's going, single, not single, if you've chosen to be a single parent, how are things going for you? What are you doing? Some tips on the order and structure could help. I've got a teenager, people, that's rough. But have a conversation with me about how you're doing. It's really great to encourage one another, and I really want to be in a position to be able to encourage other parents who are working really hard, whether they are solo or not. Thank you so much for tuning in. I love you guys, and see you next week.